Hey guys, how do I look? Okay. Oh, crap. What? Here we go. How do I look? I am a stripper, after all, so that is the most important thing of all, just about. Other than what I'm willing to do with myself, maybe, perhaps. Okay. Thumbnail. Smile extra big and wide for my one viewer. My one viewer that I'm assuming was messed up my last stream. So yes, hello YouTube. I'm not ready to give up just yet. I'm getting there. I'm closer than I was earlier today. I'm always just about ready to just not bother with anything anymore and just lay back down in my bed and do nothing until the day that I'm eventually no longer able to do so and get kicked out onto the street. But for today, I'm still gonna try to re-say the entire half hour's worth of what I was saying earlier. We'll see how this goes. I did a stream shortly before this. Oh, I'd also just like to say it is 6 o'clock on the dot. Ding, that's what my phone says right now. So I did a stream shortly before this from the club parking lot. I am back in the club kitchen right now. I have done a few streams from here before. So it's kind of a cute top, right? Maybe I should take this off. Oh, how cute, kind of. Oh, gross, that's not cute. This will help my stream post. This is the only way for this stream to work. If I show my fat gut. Can my stream post properly now? Will they allow me to keep this stream posted properly if I just like do something like this? Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize, that's not attractive. Clearly. Hopefully this does it for somebody out there. Hopefully I'm bringing a smile to somebody's face right now, or possibly in the future. Already it's been a Monday. It's already off to a Monday kind of Monday start. I'm bloated, clearly. I feel yucky. I wasted another half hour of my miserable life earlier in the club parking lot. I was trying to talk about my political campaign and they cut me off. My political adversaries just cut me short and I wasn't able to finish saying what I was trying to say. So now I have to I'm just gonna try to re-say it all over again. And I'm sure we're gonna be having more interruptions now that I'm here in the club. So be it, we'll just try our best. What was I saying? You know what I was saying when I just got cut off before? I was starting to talk about LBQT? Is that what it is? I was talking about LBQT rights because, again, part of my political campaign. So a big part of my political campaign, the first part, was we need to have support groups for abused adults. Adults, especially adults. I know there's like maybe like women's shelters for women that are like, I don't know, physically abused by their spouse or their partner, their boyfriend, that kind of thing. But I'm talking about, like, in addition to that, I think there need to be support groups for adults of all genders, male, female, or otherwise, for that suffer or have suffered a different kind of abuse beyond just physical. And even if they're not currently experiencing it, I'm also specifically referring to adults that have been mentally, emotionally, and psychologically abused by their parents in their past. Because I feel like that seems to get overlooked, unless they happen to be the kind of adult that's able to afford therapy and go talk to somebody that way. Then maybe they can try to work that out in therapy with a therapist, but not everybody's able to afford that kind of thing. And I myself would fall into that kind of category. So when I think of support groups, I think of basically, to me, a support group is something that you don't have to pay for out of pocket. That's just what, like, I wouldn't actually know though, because I've never actually been to a support group myself. I'm from a very small town where that kind of thing just doesn't seem to exist, possibly, or I've just never personally come across that. I've never heard of or seen anything like that, again, where I'm from. And I wish that those things did exist where I'm from, because if they did, and if they were something that people didn't have to pay for to visit or to join or to frequent, then I would probably try to make time to go to try to go do something like that. Another part of my political campaign was going to be about protecting Planned Parenthood. I'm pretty sure that part got kept in my previous video that I did. However, I haven't had a chance to watch that back yet. All I've been able to do so far, just a few minutes ago before starting this stream, I went and I skipped to the very end of that first video that I did earlier today, and all I really saw so far was just that it got cut off right around the time that I started to talk about LBQT rights. So these are some of the points that I wrote down that I'm trying to talk about for my political campaign. These were things that I saw on, like, basically in a commercial break on YouTube. So you know how, like, when you're watching videos on YouTube, a lot of videos will have ads? This was basically where you would see an ad, consider it to have been an actual ad. It was more like, yeah, again, where the ads would be, but it the intermission of a video, and it was like, click on one of these options, like which one of these options like means the most to you, or which of these do you agree with, that kind of thing. So when I saw that, it just kind of gave me an idea to write all of them down, because they were basically like political topics that I wanted, that reminded me like, oh, like I have opinions about this stuff. Maybe I want to try to talk about it in an upcoming video. So another thing that I think that I'm pretty sure got kept in my first video was the gun safety laws. I'm not against people in the US being able to own a firearm. Like, personally, I think that most people should probably be able to, as far as like regular handguns or maybe like hunting rifles, that kind of thing. But I don't think that assault rifles should be available to most people or easy to purchase, unless they are in the military, or if there's like a very specific reason why somebody would need to have one of those. So that's my stance on that. Also, clean energy and LBQT rights. I think that people should be able to express any gender that they want. I myself would not consider myself straight. Probably asexual, but yeah, I'm just really thankful that society seems to finally be getting to a point where there's been at least some kind of progress for people to be able to be more open about like their sexuality and whatever gender they might want to try try to express or feel that they would want to be. I like variety, and I really detest feeling like the only option for people would just be like the traditional like man and wife getting married. I think that's a drag, and I think that's proven to not work very well for a lot of people many times over. So I think people should have the freedom and the ability to openly embrace other options if that's what they so choose and if that's what they want to do. Like, yeah, and I myself, I wish that I felt like I had been raised in that way to be more confident and secure as far as trying to be like a strong, independent woman, which I don't think I was. I don't think society had gotten to that point yet for most of the time that I was growing up, which is kind of a bummer. But I also think society still has a long way to go with that kind of stuff too. So that's an important issue for me, or it would be for my political campaign. In theory, of course. The other thing that I was starting to talk about was clean energy. I'm pretty sure what I said about that or tried to say about that in my previous video, I'm pretty sure that was part of the parts that got cut out. So yeah, especially with my OCD, I really like clean air and clean water. They're very important to me. And I was saying how the video that I did from my car earlier today, I was originally going to do that video with my car off and the windows down to try to save on gas. But shortly before, or actually like right before I started that video, a guy came out to his motorcycle in the parking lot, which was close to my car. And I could tell he was getting ready to put on his motorcycle. So with that, I knew that the motorcycle fumes would be coming out at me. And I don't like to breathe in that kind of stuff, like, you know, like exhaust fumes and like diesel type fumes, like trucks and motorcycles. So right before he started his motorcycle, I rolled up my windows, put my car back on, and just cranked the AC. But I made sure to put that little part of the AC on where it's not drawing in air from the outside, it's just recycling the air that's already in the car. Because again, I didn't want to be like exposed to too many of those motorcycle fumes. So clean air, clean water, like EPA type stuff is really important to me. And I've kind of heard little bits here and there about how the laws, as far as the EPA is run, are really not as strict or secure as maybe they could or should be. So that's something that I would want to look into if I were ever like in politics or like running a political campaign for real. You know, obviously, again, this is right now is just in theory. And then I was also starting to talk about how recently I've been talking in a lot of my videos about how I basically wish that I could live here at the club. I'm very thankful to still have a roof over my head so far, but I worry about that every single day. Like I basically wish that I could have like a little house, a little tree house, a little place to dwell just out back in the back club parking lot, because there's a lot of stuff that I worry about every single day and every single night, especially when it comes to like my present and the future. But two of the biggest things are like my car and my apartment, technically my landlord's apartment. So if I were to be able to like have room and board and live here on the premises of the club, that would take away two of those top biggest worries that I have. I would have a place to live, hopefully, and I wouldn't have to worry about transportation anymore. And yeah, like cars are already so expensive on their own, but especially now with the gas prices going up and stuff, I mean, yeah, I would no longer have to worry about transportation to and from the club, because the club is pretty much the only place that I go besides the grocery store and the bank. But why do I go to the bank? To pay my utility bills and to pay my rent. So I feel like if I were able to live here at the club, it would take away so much of that stuff that I worry about and have to deal with as far as that. Like, I could finally have a place to really be like long term. And yeah, it's like I would probably just want to work here at the club still, like every single day, but at least with that I wouldn't have to worry about like actually getting here and what feels like almost kind of just throwing away my limited amount of money like into the apartment that I'm at. So, and that's like with like already the rent for the apartment that I'm at is already so much lower than the average price here where I'm from and what I've heard other average prices to be. So even with that being the case though, it's like, it's so expensive for me. It feels like so much money to me that I'm just kind of like giving to a landlord that apparently breaks into that apartment and takes my stuff. So, and that to me just pretty much feels like an abusive situation. You know, hey, yeah, that feels like abuse. And I've heard from other dancers here and there that live by themselves in an apartment that, you know, landlords are oftentimes, unfortunately, in a position to abuse their tenants. And I feel like strippers are especially susceptible to that, you know, to being harassed and just being in abusive living situations when it comes to that kind of thing. And oftentimes probably being too scared to speak up or do anything about it for fear of losing their roof over their head. You know what I mean? For fear of not having anywhere to live, which is really crappy. So I was saying with that, how even just this past week, because this time of year in the summer, I am trying to make a point to work here at the club as much as possible. Ideally, I would do that in the winter as well. It's just so much harder for me to do it in the winter. Whereas now with this kind of weather in the spring and the summer, it's easier for me to get to the club more often. So lately with the warmer weather, I've gone from doing a 40-hour work week, 4 10-hour shifts in a row, to doing a 50-hour work week, so 5 10-hour shifts in a row. And honestly, if I felt able to work on Friday or Saturday night, I would probably work those nights as well. I just don't feel able to for reasons beyond my control. Anyways, so with me coming into the club more often, I was not able to find the time to do laundry back at the apartment that I stay at like I normally would. Basically, I don't have a washer and dryer at the apartment that I stay at, so I wash everything that I do wash. I have to wash by hand in the sink. I just don't feel like I have the time or the energy to go to a laundromat. And also, I wouldn't want to spend the money to go to a laundromat either. So yeah, I wash stuff by hand in the sink, which, you know, that's even more difficult. It's difficult to do regardless, but it's even more difficult for me to do that in the winter because in the wintertime, I don't put the heat on. So it takes so long for that stuff to dry on the drying rack that I put it on. At least in the summertime though, it does dry a lot faster. But with me coming into the club even more often to work so much more often lately now that it's warmer, I just haven't even, it's like I have no time or energy left to do anything else pretty much. Like I feel like I'm not able to find time to go to the gym or just do other little things that I have to do. And that includes laundry. So I actually did my laundry, not all of it obviously, but I washed this dress that I'm wearing, and then I washed another little black dress and a black skirt. I washed by hand back here in this club kitchen sink, and I put it in my car. I think last Thursday, I just let it dry in my car here at the club. So it's like, you know, yeah, I basically just, I'm here at the club pretty much all the time. Like this is where all my energy goes to, all my time, all my energy, almost everything that I have. It's like being put into this place and this occupation or this, whatever you would call it. It doesn't really feel like an official occupation because I really don't actually make money here, but I wish that I did. And more than anything, I wish that I would just at least earn enough of some kind of anything of value to just be able to literally live here, because that's basically what I feel like I'm practically doing at this point anyways. Like, the apartment that I stay at, I go there to eat, shower, and sleep. And sometimes I will try to work on my writing, but that doesn't really, it's just, you know, for what I'm paying to be there, it just seems kind of silly. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I just keep coming right back here to the club, to the point where it's like, why can't I just live here? So I was talking about that. And then I was also talking about earlier, the part that got cut out from my first video today. I was talking about how recently I had mentioned just like the crappy situations I've been in since I became a stripper. The apartment that I'm in now, I've been there for 10 years, but I did have one other apartment when I first became a stripper many years ago. And basically when I was living there, it was also a really bad situation. And it was just really like gross and uncomfortable. So I ended up purchasing a mini fridge, which was very expensive. And I put that in my own little personal room that I had there. And, you know, it was just because the kitchen was so gross and so dirty. And so I wanted that mini fridge to be an investment. But what ended up happening instead is I basically ended up giving it away. When I left that apartment, the situation was so bad that when I left there, it was on the fly, it was unplanned, just spur of the moment, basically. And I ended up leaving the vast majority of my stuff that I had at that time. I had to leave basically. Everything that I was able to bring with me was just whatever I could carry in my own 2 arms and hands into the street to meet the cab driver that I was meeting to drive me to his place, because I stayed with him for a couple months in between apartments. Again, it was all very on the fly, very unplanned. It was just, the situation got so bad to the point where I just felt the need to get out of there, like spur of the moment like that. So I had to leave that mini refrigerator behind. And rather than just leaving it, basically what I did is I gave it away to somebody for free, essentially. The only thing that I really got in exchange is the person that I gave it to. I let them keep it for free, just under the conditions that what they did in turn was just move it out of the apartment building for me, so that I didn't have to worry about like physically taking care of it or physically removing it from the apartment myself. Because again, I was already scrambling around just trying to carry whatever amount of my stuff I could just like fit in my arms and my hands. And then all the rest of it, the vast majority of the rest of my stuff and my clothes, I just had to leave behind. A lot of it I actually did have to throw away. And then I tried to give away some of my clothes and other things to like other people, other females in the building, basically. 2 stripper poles I just left to my roommates, and I just lost a lot of the stuff that I had back then that way. But you know, it's like I've given away a lot of stuff to people in the past, and I like to think that it's because I'm a generous person, or I try to be. But a lot of times the actual main reason for that is I just haven't known what else to do with that stuff. It's just been like the circumstances and situations that I've found myself in, to where it was either that or throw it away, basically. And again, there is a lot of stuff that I did have to throw away as well. But what I would ideally want to do instead, if I had a choice between throwing something away or giving it away, in most cases I would usually prefer to just give it away, as for it to not go to waste, preferably. So yeah, the building that I was in, it was such a big building. There were so many people. It was basically like a lot of college age kids. and tons of people were living in that building. It was basically like a party building, which had its upsides and its downsides. You know, it was a lot of stuff went down there, and it was usually quite a commotion and very noisy, and the cops were there a lot. But one of the upsides is it was very easy for me to find a guy to accept that mini fridge and be able to move it out of my old room, my old apartment, into his, to take care of that for me that way. So yeah, and I don't even think, as far as I remember, I don't think he even barely spoke English, but he at least seemed to understand what I was trying to say enough to, again, accept the mini fridge and take it out of my old room and put it in his room. So, and then that was the first mini fridge that I got. I did get a second one. I did purchase a second one at the cab driver's place that I was staying at. I also ended up leaving that with the cab driver, because again, it was just too much, too heavy, too much of a hassle to move it into the apartment that I got after that. So, and when I was with the cab driver, I also spent money on a lock and key to have put on the door, on the bedroom door of the bedroom that I was staying in there, which I also ended up leaving to that cab driver. That cab driver, I got my car when I was staying there, but before that I was borrowing his car, and I only was borrowing it for a couple of weeks, but he had me go on his insurance, so I ended up spending all kinds of money that way. The cab driver did, of course, make out pretty good in that situation. He probably, looking back, charged me more than he would have needed to, like, for it to be fair, but so I lost a lot of money that way. I think I only ended up using his car for like a couple of weeks before I got my own. But again, I had to like go on his insurance, and I think I gave him like at least $2,000 for those 2 weeks of borrowing it, which, looking back now, it's like I probably could have, some people can find used cars for that amount of money. Like, you can buy sometimes a used car for like a couple grand, but I mean, that's pretty expensive. That's like rent sometimes in some cases, you know. God, that's like a grand can be like pretty much rent for some people, and I was giving him $1,000 for each week that I borrowed that car, which was ridiculous. And it wasn't even a nice car, you know, like it was. So he ended up getting to keep that old mini fridge. He made out really good in that deal, and I did not in that situation. But also, this is kind of going back and not really like an important detail, but this is a detail that I did include, or tried to include, the first time I talked about this, that I forgot to say now. So the mini fridge, I gifted it to some random guy that I met in the hallway, like last minute, like spur of the moment, because I needed him to physically move the mini fridge out of the apartment that I was staying at. I'm pretty sure the way that I was able to get the mini fridge into the apartment was with a guy that I was sort of almost dating back then. I honestly can't remember exactly how that happened. I'm just thinking back to myself now. I'm like, there's no way I could have physically brought that thing in there by myself when I first got it. So, but there was a guy that I was seeing a little bit, and I'm assuming, again, I don't really remember, but I'm assuming that he probably would have helped me to put that mini fridge in there when I first got it. But then he actually moved out of that apartment building long before I did. So by the time that I moved out of that apartment building much later on, again, he was no longer there. So that's why I needed somebody else, like big and strong, a guy, you know, to move that mini fridge out of the room when I was eventually not ready, but when I eventually, spur of the moment, ended up feeling the need to leave that building. But you know what, I will also say, just on that note, and this is actually something that I did not include in the first time that I tried to say this stuff in my previous video that I did earlier today, but so I wouldn't be able to move a mini fridge by myself, But I was actually able, the last air conditioner that I got, I think back in like 2000, this was many years ago. I just remember I had been on a diet, mind you, too, and I had gotten my waist down to like 23 inches, which is nowhere near what it's at now. It's been a long time since I've had my waist at that size, and it's only happened a couple times in my adult life, and each time it's been very fleeting. But I did get a picture because I remember I was so excited to have the measuring tape around my waist and see 23 inches like that I took pictures. And so I was dieting to get there. But shortly after that, I went to Target and I got an air conditioner, and I was able to move that air conditioner by myself. I remember because at that point I was single. I wasn't dating anyone at all or seeing anyone at all. I was doing everything, by myself. So I got the air conditioner by myself, and I also brought it up to the apartment that I've been at now for a while, like living by myself, like no roommates or anything like that. Although the person next door through the wall, I hear them so often, they might as well practically be a roommate at this point. But anyways, they're always there on the other side of the wall, right there all the time. So it does kind of feel like a roommate kind of situation practically. But anyways, and also when I moved that air conditioner into there, I had just been dieting, like down to a 23-inch waist, but also it was up a couple flights of stairs. It was up 2 flights of stairs that I had to move that air conditioner by myself. So I was super proud of myself for being able to do that. But again, that was an air conditioner. Mini refrigerators are, in the cases that I've gotten these things, the mini refrigerators are a lot bigger and heavier than the air conditioners are. Anyways, so, and I'd also just like to say real quick, this is another thing that I forgot to include in the other time that I was trying to talk about the stuff. I do try to be very generous. There's been so much stuff I've given away to people for free. I was trying at one point, or for a while, I was really trying to be successful with webcamming. So with that one time, I was getting like new furniture moved into the apartment that I'm at now. This was also years ago. I would never spend money on this kind of thing now. This would have been before 2020. So ever since 2020, it's like I won't spend money on anything that I don't have to, because I just have a whole new outlook. Not a very good one either, but I'll never recover from how much that psychologically damaged me in 2020, and COVID and all of that. So this was well before that happened. But I was basically trying to rearrange my apartment to be like more in line with like the webcamming kind of vibe, and like just to have things try to look nice on camera and that kind of thing. So I invested so much time and money into I put so much work, so much effort into trying to make that apartment look nice for that. And I got new furniture. And when I got new furniture, the guys that came in to put that stuff, to try to make more room, because it is a very small apartment. It's like a studio. So to try to make more room for that, I basically gave away some of my old furniture to the moving guys for free. I was like, if you guys can just move this out of here to make more space, you guys can keep it for free. So I did that. There was a green suede chair that I gave away, and actually one of the other thing that I gave away was a really nice bed frame. It was like the bed frame that I have now is like kind of like a cheap crappy one that's like just those cheap flimsy metal ones. But it's a lot smaller. So the reason I went from the nice wood one that I used to have down to this cheap crappy metal one was, again, the metal one's a lot smaller. I was basically just trying to save some space that way. So, but there was this really nice wooden, like furniture style bed frame that I just gave away. I just gave away to those guys. And it's like, I was saying now, it's like at the start of the first video that I did, at the start of the first video that I did for my car earlier today, I was kind of going back to talking about how much it upsets me to notice that stuff has gone missing from that apartment and also missing from my car. It's like that obviously really bothers me. But in another way of looking at it, it's like, well, damn, I should actually be happy when that happens. Like, if anything, they're doing me a favor because, you know, going into the future, the direction that things seem to be going, realistically, it's like I'll probably just end up losing everything there anyways. Whether that be, and then it's like anything that somebody takes from me now, that's one less thing that I will have to part with by choice. By choice. Like basically in other bad, terrible circumstances and situations. Like, anything that somebody takes from me now, again, it's one less thing that I would have to donate or like gift to somebody for free, or one less thing that I would have to throw away, like give away or throw away, basically. It's one less thing that I would have to part with and make that difficult decision to part with. Because yeah, it's like I like to try to tell myself that me giving away my stuff has been because I'm just so generous, I'm just such a nice person. But all my life, so in some ways that is the case and that is the main reason, but in at a lot of times, a lot of points in time, it's just been the circumstances and situation for me where I basically didn't know what else to do. Like either give stuff away or throw it away. And again, if I have to choose between one or the other, I'd rather at least it not go to waste. I don't want to just throw something in the trash, you know what I mean? That breaks my heart. It's one of the worst feelings ever to me, you know, to have to throw something away that I really like and care about and would prefer to keep forever if possible. You know, to just have to throw away my stuff like that is such a terrible feeling. But it's like, yeah, the apartment that I'm at now, in a lot of ways, it does feel like an abusive situation when stuff goes missing from there. And the ways that my landlord the things that he's said to me, the things that he's done where I feel very uncomfortable and unsafe and disrespected, it does feel like an abusive situation a lot of times. But then it's like, I better just...
What's up?
Hey.
Journaling?
Huh?
Are you journaling?
Yeah.
You do that sometimes.
But then it's like, yeah, I better just try to enjoy that, I better just at least try to enjoy the parts of that I can now, because going into the future, there aren't any, I don't think I'd be able to afford anywhere else. So it's like, as much of the abusive aspects of that kind of suck, obviously, it's like, well, at least it's better than being homeless. And that's what pretty much seems to be looming in the future for me. And it's like, I don't even know how much further into the future that would be. Every day, every night is just fear and dread about that. Just so much fear and so much dread. And I don't know what to do to fix it or to stop it or to have things go in a better direction. So it's like, enjoy this version of an abusive situation as best I can while I still can, which is a very weird feeling for me. And it's like,
Tink, I got your statement.
okay. Oh God. I said all this stuff as usual. I said this stuff, it had such a better flow when I tried to say this earlier, and I lost half an hour of what I was trying to say. And you know what? While after that disconnected, there was still one viewer, not only one, but there was like 2 and 3. So it's like 2 or 3 little gang stalkers were like still coming into my chat or still coming into my video to make it look like maybe I was still streaming. Just always messing with the numbers, like, you know. I love this song. But it's like, yeah, part of why it feels to me like my semblance, whatever semblance there would be of a relationship that I have with my mother, part of why it feels kind of possibly a bit abusive to me is just the neglect that I feel. There was never neglect in the sense that I had a roof. The basic bare minimum requirements physically were met in the sense that I was fed and I had a roof over my head. But outside of that, I feel like there was a lot of neglect in the sense where I just really wasn't taught anything. And like mentally, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, there were just a lot of other needs that weren't met and just kind of neglected there. And I remember I even asked her one time, this was actually recently, I asked her this earlier this year. God. I asked her this earlier this year. I was like, you know, why, this was in reference to something like financial, like, why didn't you teach me this very crucial information that could have saved my life as far as me being able to be a strong, independent woman and being able to generate an income for myself and possibly get a house of my own someday and possibly become a mother someday and possibly adopt a child someday, like actually survive in the world as an adult on my own, or possibly, you know, but preferably on my own, because I don't want to have to rely on anybody else ever for anything if I can help it. I asked her, so this was more in the financial sense of things. I was like, why didn't you teach me that? And her response was, she was like, well, nobody taught me that. She was like, you know, I had to learn that myself. So I'm just really, really sick of her generation's kind of like mentality of that. So she's a Capricorn Christian Republican. I'm not saying that any of those things are bad. I'm just saying like very, very strict. She's a very, very strict, and it's not like she was on drugs either. Like when it comes to me being neglected by her with that kind of stuff, I feel like it would have, it would have been one thing if she was like maybe a drug addict, or if she had some kind of like weird reason to neglect me and that kind of thing. But it was actually quite the opposite from what I could tell with her. Even though she was very strict and we kind of butted heads with that, she seemed to be very, very responsible and like really have all her stuff together. So with that, hey.
Don't mean to interrupt at all. I took you off stage because I haven't gotten up there for a few of them.
Okay.
Is everything okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Sure, just checking with you.
Thank you.
All right.
You guys, my ADHD, YouTube keeps popping up. So there's that. He's nice, but YouTube, all throughout me trying to keep my train of thought with this, YouTube keeps popping up notifications. And I don't know what they're for, but it's like, literally at the top of my screen, it's like notification, notification, notification. And it's like, oh my gosh. So it's not like she was, again, I can understand like maybe like my mother neglecting to teach me some things. If she had a problem with, like, some parents, you know, are drug addicts, or some, you know, there's reasoning like that. With my mother, I feel like it was quite the opposite. I feel like she was a health nut, and again, very, very strict, to where there were downsides to that, but the upsides, I just always thought that she was very level-headed and very like capable, like very responsible, and just able to take care of stuff and do stuff the way that it needed to be done. I just thought that she was a very capable, responsible adult. So for her, again, for her to neglect to teach me very important things, it's like, well, what is the reasoning there then? I guess maybe she just was so busy working, but it's like still like there had to have been some time in between that to make an effort when it comes to very important stuff that I feel was missed out on. So I'm just really sick of her generation's whole mindset where it seems like, you know, we walked uphill both ways, so therefore you should have to too, because it builds character and it makes you stronger. And, you know, that's not always the case. Maybe for some people it does make them stronger. Maybe for some people that is a good way to go, but not for everyone. And I feel like I am just, unfortunately, I have to just kind of like be this living proof, this living example that it doesn't always work out that way. And it's not always the best way to go for people, especially for someone like myself that I feel is not all there, like mentally. Like I feel like I have brain damage and like disabilities, you know, to where I don't feel capable. Like the way I always thought that she was so capable, I don't feel capable myself. And I really wish desperately that I did. And it's like, you know, there seems to be two types of people or parents when it comes to, not just two types, but out of all the many types, I've noticed two kind of conflicting mindsets when it comes to stuff like that, where it's like, you know, they say that some parents, like the idea there, it's like, I don't want my child to ever have to suffer the way that I suffered, or struggle the way that I struggled, or go through the stuff that I had to go through in my life. So I will try to teach them and do whatever I can to try to prevent them from suffering and struggling the way that I did. Whereas that other side of it, the other way to be for, in a lot of these cases, it seems like with my mother, for example, it's almost like the opposite, where it's like, well, I had to struggle, so therefore you should too. I had to suffer, so therefore you should too. Otherwise it wouldn't be fair. Like, you know, like if I had to, you should have to too, kind of thing. Because maybe it's like, oh, that's the only way to make it fair, or that's supposed to build character, or that's supposed to be tough love. And again, maybe in some cases it does work out that way, and maybe it can be a positive thing for some people. But for me personally, I feel like it could be okay. Maybe that would, like, to an extent, but I feel like it's been so long. I've been suffering and struggling so long and so much for so long that I feel like it's so far past that point to where all I see in my future is not just possible, but probable homelessness. And until that point, I'm in this abusive situation where stuff goes missing from my car in my apartment. And it's psychologically so bad that I'm trying to think of that as like an almost good thing. They're doing me a favor because that's stuff that I won't have to come to the painful decision of parting with by choice myself in the future. When I do become homeless, probably, it's like one less thing for me to have to get rid of myself in that process. So unfortunately, I probably will never be able to purchase my own house the way that I really wish that I would be able to. But another thing that I was talking about in my first video today, the part that I think got cut out, part of what I think got cut out before, God, you know, I feel like another common mentality that parents maybe have towards their kids, or especially their daughters, well, in this case, I'd be more so referring to specifically just daughters, just kind of like the assumption that, well, you better find like a good a good strong man with a good strong job to help support you and blah blah blah. Either that, or you better have a damn good head on your shoulders and make sure to get a really good job yourself to be able to be strong enough to support yourself as a single independent woman. So when I was growing up, I feel like there was really neither of that. I wasn't really kind of taught or encouraged into any kind of direction as far as either one of those things. So I can right now, kind of looking back, only just assume that I guess my family, my parents, but specifically my mom and my grandma, because like the male part of that was never really that much of the equation, other than financially, I guess. But so just as far as the neglect, mentally and emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, I can only kind of assume that the reason my mother and my grandmother never really tried to say anything one way or the other, encouraging me to try to find a good man to get married and get support that way, or to try to make sure to get a good job myself and make sure to do everything that I could to try to be able to become a strong, independent woman. I feel like maybe the reason they didn't really bother to try to teach me any of that would be, I guess it's almost like they just assumed that I would get married, or just assumed that I would follow that kind of more normal, traditional kind of lifestyle pattern that a lot of people do seem to follow. But for me personally, it's it's not just that I don't want to need a man. It's that I don't want to ever have to need anyone for anything ever. At all. For anything. Yeah, I mean, sure, it's true. I don't want to have to need a man, but I don't want to need anybody. I want to literally be able to do everything myself, by myself, for myself, with only just myself. I want to be able to change a tire, fix my car in any way that it would need to be fixed. I want to be able to fix anything that would need to be fixed in the apartment that I stay at, or in a house, preferably a house, but again, that doesn't seem very likely. I want to be able to be my own doctor, my own therapist, my own nurse, my own dentist, my own banker, my own realtor, my own editor and publisher for if I ever did finish my book, my own I want to be able to be my own photographer, my own teacher, my own plumber. I want to be able to know about technology. I want to be able to fix my own laptop, my own computers, my own phone, my own YouTube. My YouTube's always messing up. The reason I'm sitting here doing this stream right now is because, again, this happens all the time. I feel like at this point I could say this happens more often than not. The reason I'm trying to do this second stream today is because my first one messed up and got cut short. So I want to know how to fix that. I want to know about computers and technology and my phone and all of this YouTube and all of these different technological techie things. I want to be able to do it myself. I want to be able to fix things myself, do everything myself. And again, probably not very likely or realistic that I would ever be able to purchase my own house the way that I want to. But let's just say, again, in theory, some magical fantasy land, if I were ever able to get my own house, I wouldn't want to have to go through a realtor. I would want to be my own realtor. I wouldn't trust anybody else to be a realtor. I would want to find my own house, select my own house. But not only that, it's like I would want to be able to build my own house if possible. Like I would want to do it all. I would want to literally design, build everything in that. I would want to build my own house, choose the land, decide where the windows go, make sure they're not facing west where the wind's usually blowing from, do the entire architecture, choose everything, decide everything, like do it all myself, build, not just choose it myself, but build it myself, construct it myself. Like I was saying in my stream earlier, if I were to be a dude, I think it would suck as far as like not being able to use my sexuality to try to make money that way, like not being able to shake my ass and make a buck basically. But I think if I were a guy, I'd probably just want to be in construction and just build houses, and with that, build my own house. You know, like I'd want to make sure to have all the plumbing like in the central core part of the building, not near the windows, you know, to be safer from the cold in the winters. If I probably wouldn't want to be in the winter like I am now, but again, just theoretically speaking, if even just for the cold, you know, just like practicality, to have it more towards the center of the building. I would want to, the entire architecture, I'd want to design and build and construct it all myself. I don't ever want to have to, you know, anything for my health, doctors, nurses. I want to be my own doctor, my own nurse. I want to know everything about the human body. I want to be able to do my own surgeries if need be. I want to be able to draw my own blood and do my own blood work. I want to be a scientist to be able to do my own blood work, a doctor, a nurse, everything, my own dentist. I want to know everything there is to know about the human body to take care of myself literally in any way that I would need to. My own nutritionist, my own everything. I don't want to ever have to go to anybody for anything, ever for anything. I literally want to be able to do everything that I would ever need to do in life, all by myself, for myself, by myself. But it's like, how would I ever get the schooling for that kind of thing? Because I feel like usually people are kind of taught to feel like they have to choose one or the other. Like you're either going to be a doctor or a dentist. You're either going to be a therapist or a banker. You're either going to be in this industry or that industry, this line of work or that line of work. Like, I don't want to have to choose one or the other. I want to be able to do it all. I want to be able to do everything, but it's like, how could I ever, that's so impossible. You know what I mean? Like that just seems so impossible and unrealistic. And it's like, how would anybody, especially someone like myself, how would anyone ever be able to get all the schooling for that? Like that would just take so much study and so much schooling, you know, so much education and time and money and effort. And what? You know, it's like I can barely find time to do the bare essentials, like the bare minimum, just to keep myself kind of somewhat barely afloat is best. Like, you know, like I'm still stuck on the bare minimum basics of stuff. You know, it's like I'm lucky if I can find time to sleep. I'm lucky if I can find time to do whatever it is that I'm trying to do or maybe somehow able to do in that moment. Like it would be amazing if I would be able to find the time or the means to get the schooling or the education to do any of that stuff that I just mentioned. Any of that. Any kind of real trade or occupation, yet alone all of that. But I just wish that I could do all of it. Like Yeah, I don't ever want to have to go to anyone, rely on anyone for anything, ever, ever. Yet alone just the aspect of like getting married or like having a man in my life. You know what I mean? Like when it comes time to register my car, I don't want anyone else touching my car. Like for a dude to sit in the driver's seat and for his ass to be where my ass is supposed to be, his clothes, his body touching my seat, that makes me feel very nauseous and disturbed. I don't want anybody else's physical presence on any of my stuff ever. I would want to register my own car, inspect my own car, do literally everything myself. I just don't want any other person to ever be involved with any of me, with any of anything for me. Like I just want other humans to not have to be a part of the picture for me ever at all. Like, and it's like, not only do I not have a choice, it feels like with any of that, again, it's like, I've got stuff going missing from the apartment that I am still able to sleep at so far and shower at so far. There wouldn't ever be enough shower time for me though. It's like I can never get clean enough because some mystery disgusting dude is apparently breaking into that apartment and not only touching my stuff but taking it, stealing it. I just wish I could eliminate that. Just eliminate other people from my world. Like, other humans. Like here at the club is one thing. It's bad enough though. Everything in the strip club to me obviously feels dirty and gross and disgusting. But I try to put up with it because I still like a lot of the people here. I still love going on the pole. You know, I still love socializing to a point and for periods of time. But yeah, it's like, I feel great when I'm back at that apartment in the shower and then after the shower, and I wish I could keep that feeling, but then it's like, I just want all my indoor stuff to just be untouched and just for me finally. My own space, my own little like safe place, my own safe space, and that doesn't exist for me because it's like that shower, that fresh clean shower feeling, anything that I touch in that apartment after that, it's supposed to be my indoor stuff just for me, and apparently it's just I'm not allowed to have that. Somebody else, I don't even know who, goes in there and does God only knows what amongst stealing my stuff. But you know what? I better just make the most of it and enjoy it while I can, because from here, it's most likely me being homeless, right? But that's tough love. You know, that's just part of the whole shebang, I guess, that I've got going on here with my Capricorn Christian Republican mother not teaching me anything and psychologically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually abusing me for the vast majority, my entire life pretty much, into my adulthood now. I'm not trying to blame it all on her like this, but truthfully, I really of this mess. It does tie in to the people that came before me. It does tie in to my mom. Like it does tie into how I was raised. That's literally why people are raised as children and like into their adulthood, is to try to help them be strong, healthy, happy, independent adults. So if that's not the outcome, at least part of that is because of something that went on in that process, or like how that process went. Like, so again, back to my political campaign. This is the stuff that I had written down. Sorry. Another thing that I will add to that is support groups for abused adults, or I don't know how to put it. Support groups for adults that were abused in ways beyond just the physical. I love the song. Anyways, I'm not going to write it down. I'm trying to, but I don't know how to exactly put it. So we already saw the first parts, right? So support groups, yeah, for adults that feel like they had been abused, other levels besides just the physical, whenever it would have been, even if it's not currently happening. Like for me, I feel like it's still a current thing. Like anytime that I dare to try to talk to my mom, like it feels like more back to that kind of borderline, like, is this abuse almost, like kind of feeling. But even for adults that might not feel like it's like, I would say even, or probably especially for adults that maybe even if it's not something like current for them, like what about the adults where their parents have already passed on and passed away? It must be even harder for them, because then it's like, that's all they've really got left is just the past memories of abuse. What do they do? Especially for like the single adults, like that don't have like a partner and that don't have family, like, or like looking back at the previous family they would have had with their parents on that side of things, if a lot of that would have felt like abuse, like, so what if it's not like a current thing to where like DHHS or some kind of organization has to like bust through the door and like put a stop to it? Like, even if it's not that kind of thing, like a child being physically abused or physically living in squalor or something like that, it's still so long lasting. The effects of other types of abuse can be so long lasting, like going into adulthood. And I honestly feel like I will be suffering the consequences and the effects of what I feel to be the mental, spiritual, emotional, psychological abuse that I've felt, that I've dealt with in my life from my parents, but particularly my mom. I feel like that's going to be something that affects me for the rest of my life. Literally the rest of my life, probably. Like, I don't think I'll ever overcome it, or I'm still going to always try to, but it's something that's always going to be there, like affecting me every single day. And I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one that feels like this. So that's a big part of what I would want to try to work on if I ever could. Or somebody, even if somebody else, like, you know, somebody more along the lines of my peers, or a peer, or somebody closer to my own age range, or whatever it might be. If more people my age range could get into politics and maybe try to like work on some of this stuff, there should be more support groups for adults, even if it's not necessarily drug related, even if it's not, just maybe different types of support groups. And again, you know, again, and in smaller towns, feel like I have wig hairs in my eyes right now too. It really hurts. There's like something in my eye. I was almost about to start crying, so it's like maybe I should just start crying to like get whatever's in my eye out of my eye, but I think it's just a wig hair as usual. I don't know, but again, where I'm from a very small town, and I've never come across a support group. I think the one time that I ever almost kind of did was when I was still with my ex back in like 2012 or 2011, and he went to a support group for like people that were like addicted to Suboxone or something like that, which apparently he had like been addicted to that like for most of our relationship, and I like didn't even know for the longest time. He was like, I don't know, taking some weird kinds of pills or something. And again, like I didn't even realize that for the vast majority of our relationship. And then closer to the time, like right before we broke up, he like kind of talked to me about it a little bit, or like up until then I had kind of just assumed that most of the problems in our relationship were my fault because I was struggling with so much stuff back then. Not drugs or anything, but just like my own stuff, like mostly like with eating and stuff. But like for my problem, so I actually did go to that support group with him, but it was just like very specifically geared towards, I think, people that were like addicted to Suboxone or like some kind of drugs. So for my particular problem, that's something I also still struggle with now. And I would consider myself to have been in recovery for that since 2011. So earlier this year was 15 years that I hadn't engaged or in those behaviors. Some of what I had still been struggling with might be considered gray area, like debatable, but the main specific behavior that I struggled with the most, I haven't done for over 15 years now. But in that entire 15-year time period, I've never been to a support group or gotten therapy or any kind of help for it. And the reason I haven't been to a support group for that kind of thing is because I've never been able to find one. Because again, where I'm from, it's just a small town. And even the state at large, like even the state that I'm from, it's like there just doesn't seem to be a whole lot of that kind of thing. If like hardly any at all. Like there's just, again, I've never come across anything like that. So, and I have occasionally looked. Usually I don't feel like I have the time or the energy to really, really look like I'd like to. But, you know, there have been times where I've at least tried to look around here and there, and I've never really been able to find anything like that. That kind of thing just doesn't seem to exist where I am. Or even like maybe the little kind of options that would be available, they're like hours and hours away for a drive. You know what I mean? They're like in a bigger city, like hours away from me. So I'm not gonna do that. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna drive hours for it, but like I really just wish that kind of thing was like in my town, like in the town that I'm in, or at least maybe the next town over, like just closer to where I am, basically. I think those kinds of things, they should be more diversified. They should be more, diversified, more variety, more options, not just, you know, like drugs or alcohol, basically, like drugs or AA, or I don't know, like whatever else would exist for other people, other parts of the world. Like, again, where I'm from, there's just hardly anything for support groups or that kind of thing. And I wish there were more things like that, more types of stuff like that, more variety, more diversified, just in more areas, in closer proximity, more cities, more towns, more states, more areas, more places. I wonder what's going on over there. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up. Oh, I love this song too. So I guess pick me up. crap. So if I can hear the music, that means my video can probably hear the music, which means I'm probably gonna get a copyright for this, which I don't even know what that means. but I know, I don't think it's good. I'm pretty sure it's bad. So it sounds like it's probably bad. That's another thing. I want to be my own lawyer. I never want to have to be in a court type setting ever again. Don't you guys get a that should kill the copyright right there. That's not a normal sound. That's not music. That's the opposite of music. Well, what's the opposite of music? Either a silence or a really bad sound. Well, some music is a bad sound to me too, but that should kill the copyright. That's not normal. That's whatever that sound is, that voice. That's not normal. So I'm just gonna do this to like hopefully have this part of my video be kept in. If I don't do this right now, then I'm assuming that this stream will just not work properly, like the last one got cut off. So let me just, here we go. Look what. So, you know what I could do, but I'm not gonna go that far right now. That monstrosity going on. What was I gonna say? The flip-flops. Oh, God. I want to be my own lawyer. I'm basically trying to be here on my YouTube, like trying to plead my case to the world, like help. But I have gotten in trouble a lot in the past, and honestly, when I did go to court back then, I never really got to say anything. I remember one time I went up to the stand and I didn't actually get to plead my case. I just said like 1 or 2 words, and I forget. To this day, I'll always wonder what it was that I said, because all I remember is like the entire courtroom burst out laughing, and I was like, what? Like, what did I even just say or do? I don't think it was even anything like, it would have just been a few words probably, if anything. Like, I just can't even imagine what it would have been. Because I remember like the judge asked me a question, like, and it was like everyone else too, like everyone else in the court that day, like in the benches, they were all there to like be seen by the judge and like get a sentence or a verdict or something. And like so many people went up in line before me. They stood at the podium, the judge asked them a question, they answered, and then they like got a response from the judge. And it was like pretty quick, like a pretty quick rapid fire process. And it's like, I don't even remember, like, I just remember it was my turn to go up. I said maybe, I'm assuming something slightly different than what other people said, but what could I possibly have said? I don't even remember like what the option was like to say, or like, I don't even remember what the judge was asking us. Like, I'm just, like, all I can assume is that, or I would imagine it would have been like, do you plead guilty or not guilty? And then we would have answered one or the other. But it's like, what could I have possibly said to like be so different to where like everyone just started cracking up? And it's not like my hair looked like this either. It's not like I was looking like this, or like, I just, to this day, I always wonder to myself, I'm like, what did I say? What could I have said to be so funny for everyone to start laughing like that? I just don't remember. I don't remember any of it other than, I don't remember what the judge asked. I don't remember what I said. All I remember is it was a short answer that I gave and everyone started cracking up. That's all I remember. Anyways, so my point though, I didn't, other than whatever I said, I don't think I really got to say much else, or I never really got to plead my case, or I'm pretty sure whatever, I did end up just pleading guilty because I didn't want things to drag on. I was just in such a determined mindset just to keep coming into the club and trying to like get stuff in order for myself, like with a car and like with an apartment. And I was just very, very determined. I didn't want things to drag out in court any longer. I didn't want to have to go back to court, basically. I didn't want to have things go on and on. And it was like, I didn't even have a car back then. So it was like a real hassle, a real challenge to me to even get over to the courthouse in the first place. So I didn't want to have to keep doing that over and over. You know what I mean? So I just pled guilty, but I never really felt like I didn't know how else to do things. Like I wouldn't have known how to get a lawyer or how to plead my own case. But my point is, earlier, a little bit ago, I was saying how I want to do everything myself. Like I want to build my own house. I want to be my own doctor, be my own everything. My own everything. My own banker, my own plumber, my own dentist, my own realtor, my own editor and publisher, my own photographer, my own teacher, my own nutritionist. My own computer fixer, my own everything, my own spokesperson, everything. I want to do everything myself. I think one thing I forgot to say earlier, I also want to be my own lawyer. Well, what I'd like more than that is to not ever have to be my own lawyer. I never want to have to go back to court if I can help it. But I feel like the world is always like shaking its finger at me like, uh-oh, you just messed up again because of something else that you weren't taught about, because of something else that you didn't know that you weren't supposed to be doing, because you were never taught about it one way or the other. So all this time you've been messing up and you never knew about it until now. We're just all of a sudden going to be doing this to you to where, yeah, so hopefully I never have to go back to court, but that's probably also unlikely because the world always seems to be telling me that I'm in the wrong and that I'm doing the wrong thing and messing up, and when I didn't even realize it most of the time. So if I did ever have to go back to court again, I would want to be my own lawyer. I would never trust anybody else to stick up for me. I would never trust anybody else to plead my case. I would never trust anybody else to do anything ever. So if need be, if I were ever to be in that kind of situation again, I'd want to be my own lawyer. You know what I mean? I'd want to like be able to do it all myself. So, okay. So one more time. I'm so bloated. All right. This is awful. Oh my god, this is awful. YouTube, I hate you for doing this to me, for pushing me to this point. Or like, okay. Thumbnail, perhaps? Perhaps. I'm gonna wrap this up now. It says that I'm at 83 minutes. If I keep talking for 7 more minutes, that'll be an hour and a half. Possibly. What else can I say? Let me just try to make sure I got everything for today. I'm so bloated. You know why? I think part of why I'm so bloated. Okay, I can talk about this real quick. I can't have, you know what I would want to do? I'd want to have, I'm so bloated right now, but what I would want to do, regardless, despite that, I would want to have one of my new protein bars that I got today. Anyways, to add on to my bloatedness. I used to have a 23-inch waist. R.I.P. This week I've been having pistachios. Low carb, kind of almost, but in the midst of a whole lot of high carb things. Anyways, what else? What was I gonna say? Oh, I would have my other protein bar right now regardless, but I put it in my locker, so it's not here with me in my bag, so I can't do that. But I could just leave the stream rolling, go up to my locker and get my protein bar and just see what happens with me just leaving all my stuff right here. I would literally just leave my backpack here open on the table. I'm at that much of a point of just saying F it to everything these days. Just like, F it all, I do not care anymore. Somebody stole my favorite socks, so my essential socks. I lost my train of thought again. And the coffee maker keeps going off and on. Why? I could never imagine. So, well, I forgot what else I was gonna say a minute ago, but I thought of something else that I forgot to say earlier. But- So, guys, it's already 7:20, almost 7:30. Holy crap. Oh, well, okay, back to what I was saying earlier. I was saying how, you know, like, I'm real scared about being homeless someday. So with that, I was like, you know, whenever somebody breaks into my car or the apartment that I stay at and steals my stuff, I'll just try to see it as them doing me a favor, because that's one less thing I'll have to worry about parting with later on. But this is the thing. They took 2 pairs of my warmest, fluffiest socks for the winter. And they were my indoor socks as well. So I would be much more able, I feel like, to apply that mindset to stuff that's not that essential for me, essential to my survival. But I feel like those socks were essential to my survival because, again, they're my warmest and fluffiest socks, my indoor socks. And me not having heat on in the apartment that I stay at, I need my warmest and fluffiest socks. So for them to have taken those, it is upsetting. Can you guys hear that thing? There's a dancer whose name he says that he used to pronounce differently, and now these days he pronounces it differently. He pronounces it materiel. And then sometimes with some dancers' names, he'll say it in kind of like a tone or a way that sounds like when a parent is scolding their child when their child has done something naughty. Or it's like one of the dancers' names where he does it, it's like, she's actually on pregnancy leave right now. She's actually, her sister's here today, her twin sister. Is it her twin? It's her sister, either way. Her sister's here. I heard her sister's name called earlier. And I talked to her sister last week. Her sister says that she hasn't been here for a while, the one that I'm talking about, because she's pregnant. But her dancer name was Hazley, and every time the automated DJ would say her name, it would say it like kind of scolding, like she was just naughty, like, Hazley. which I'm honestly surprised it's never said my name that way. Like, Tinka. If anything, it should be saying my name that way. Tinka. But actually, whenever it says my name, it says it and it sounds like so excited and happy. It's like, Tinka! It's like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage for the first round of 3, Tinka! I know I'm laughing obviously right now, but I swear I'm not joking. It literally says it like this. So with material, the name that it just said, it with okay, so I got another pop-up on my screen from YouTube, so that distracts me, but with the dancer's name that it just said, it used to say it like this. It used to be like material. Used to be like Did you guys hear it? It says it different now. It used to be like material. And now it's like, I'm not farting, there's another couch in front of me, I swear. Look, I keep doing it. I have farted on camera before, but I'm not gonna do it again right now. Listen, now it says it like this. Well, you probably just heard it, but I'm gonna do it too. In case you didn't hear it. Material. Okay, I'm all done now. I'm gonna sign off now. I was honestly just biding my time because I wanted to get a round number like I usually do. Not always, but I do it sometimes. I'm doing it now. So I wanted to get exactly an hour and a half, and it says 92 minutes. So even if it cuts some of the time off, well, hopefully it won't cut too much time off this time. Here. Oh my God. Holy crap, you guys, that's bad. I swear I'm not pregnant, but thumbnail. 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 Thumbnailio. Yep. After processing my videos, sometimes my resulting video is somewhat shorter, sometimes a lot shorter, that's the bad part. But sometimes it's, even regardless, sometimes even the normal ones are like still somewhat shorter, like by like a few seconds or a minute or whatever. This is 93 minutes and 20 seconds right now. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 20. Okay, so you get the idea. So it's a few minutes past the 90-minute mark, to where hopefully the end result of this might be 2.5 hours round number. If it posts the whole thing and doesn't cut off the end of it like it did for my first round earlier today from the parking lot. That was upsetting. But it's bound to happen because it does a lot. Way too often. But so now I'm all done for today, and I'm so bloated right now. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I started to forget earlier. I've been having these new drinks lately. Material. Why can't you say my name like that? I feel like my name doesn't have enough syllables to say it like that. Tinka or Tinka. I don't know, but Tinka. All right, so I was saying I've been having these new drinks lately called Olipop, and apparently they have 9 grams of fiber each. I had one earlier before doing this video. I had the cherry cola version. They're still somewhat new to me. I started trying them for the first time like last week. I saw one of the you're not allowed to use the skit word anymore. So I saw one of the slimmest, trimmest dancers here. I saw her drinking them, or I think it was her. It might not have been her. I saw one in the trash next to her shortly after she had been in that area. So I thought that maybe it was her that had it, but it could have not been. But again, she's very slim and trim, so I was like, maybe that was her that had it. Maybe I should try those. So I was deeply, heavily influenced by that. And I'm a very easily influenced person. So influencers are such a big thing for me, especially. So I was super influenced, and I was like, I want to try it. So I did. And again, they have 9 grams of fiber. But it says literally on the can, it's like, this supports digestive health. This supports your gut microbiome. So microbiome is a word that I had heard my dancer friend Taz use that word around me recently well, we were talking about how her farts don't smell and her shit don't stink. And I was like, Taz, you're so amazing. You're literally so perfect. Even your shit doesn't smell. And then I started to talk about how mine does. And I think like how I think about part of that might be because I diet so often. And she was like, yeah, well, like dieting affects your gut microbiome. Dieting affects your butt microbiome. Dieting affects your butt microbiome. What? Your butt. It affects your butt microbiome. And it also affects your gut. It also affects... It also affects your gut microbiome. That's what she said. That's what she said. Like that's a saying now too, right? By influencers, like that's what she said. Your gut microbiome. And then I'm gonna say your butt micro. Why is that so hard to say? Your gut, okay, ready? Your gut microbiome. Microbiome. Your gut microbiome. Your butt microbiome. That's what she said. So, here, in case this gets cut out. My gut and butt microbiome. So apparently these drinks don't help me. They don't work for me. They make me feel sick and bloated because I had one before I did this video and I don't feel good right now. It's so bloated. But it says on the can says it helps your gut microbiome and that it's good for digestive health. But I think maybe with the 9 grams of fiber that they apparently have, maybe that might just be a tad bit too much for me personally. I don't know. I will say they taste okay. They taste nice. They taste all right, actually. So far today I had cherry cola. Last week I had blackberry vanilla. The blackberry vanilla. That is the flavor that I saw where I saw the can in the trash a couple weeks ago or whenever it was. So I was like, oh, I want to try that one because I think that's the one that she had maybe, or I don't know. So I tried that one. It was okay, but it honestly wasn't great. Where I get them, it's weird because there's 2 stores that I usually go to. The store that's usually less expensive, every now and then some stuff will actually be more expensive there. So that store, they were $2.50 each. Whereas the other store, the one where stuff is usually more expensive, they're actually cheaper at that store. They're $2 at that store. So this is another thing that I was talking about. It's like, it can never be consistent. I know that the powers that be do this on purpose, where like, this majority of products is cheaper at this store, but not everything, of course. Every now and then, there'll be exceptions to that, and some of the products that you want to get are actually cheaper at this other store. So you constantly have to be going back and forth between the two to diversify your shopping experience. AKA make it that much more difficult. Like I can't just choose one store or the other. Like it's always got to be like, all over the place. So anyway, they're still, either way, whether it's $2 or $2.50, they're still way too expensive for me, but I was just so heavily influenced lately by it that I was like, I'm just gonna try them anyways. I'm gonna treat myself. I'm gonna treat myself and just try to like treat my gut microbiome. I was like, I'm gonna try to treat my butt microbiome. I'm gonna treat my butt. I'm gonna treat my butt microbiome. I'm going to. And the end result that I've had so far, or the current result that I've had so far, is that I'm just ending up incredibly bloated. So I don't know if it's just the soda's fault though. It could be other potential reasons. I've also been having a lot of other stuff lately. So I've also been having like just lots of other various things. So I can't just blame the sodas right away. Like I don't know, I don't want to place the blame on the Ollipops because for all I know, it's not their fault. And again, they don't taste like super exciting to me, but they taste good. They taste good enough. I think they're basically like advertising themselves as like a healthier soda alternative, like a soda replacement. And I pretty much haven't been drinking like actual soda since I was a child, pretty much. Like ever since I became an adult, I was like, I'm not having soda anymore. I'll just have seltzer water. So I was like, maybe I'll try this. And I did. And again, the flavors that I've tried aren't super strong. They're not super exciting to me. Honestly, I think I prefer seltzer water. I love seltzer water, which I did also get seltzer water today. So I don't know. I mean, like I will still get other flavors of Olipop in the future. I'll still occasionally try to like treat my butt microbiome and get some. But again, I mean, I feel like overall I might as well just get seltzer water for the most part because it still has that effervescent, sparkly, exciting texture and effect for me. So I really love seltzer water. I've always loved seltzer water. Some people said that it's like drinking static, but oh well, I like them. I like seltzer water. It doesn't hurt my mouth or my throat or anything. I mean, and like compared to this, like I'm not gonna say they don't make me bloated, but honestly, pretty much everything makes me bloated, it seems like. So seltzer water is whatever to me. Like I really like it still. So anyway, excuse me. Sorry, like mini silent burps there. On that note, I'm gonna wrap this up now. It is 7:41 and this video is 103 minutes. So I don't know. Tomorrow's Tinka Tuesday, and my videos especially mess up on Tinka Tuesday. Oh, but you know what? I might want to come back on later. Even though I'm super bloated right now, I'm also actually hungry right now too. Surprise, surprise. That happens a lot for me. So I am also gonna probably have one of my new protein bars or protein drinks later tonight. And I would like to try to share that experience with you guys. So you know, I've seen better days than this, obviously. It is a Monday. It is Monday today, and I am feeling the Monday vibes, and I really don't give up at this point. So I hope you guys are well, and I'm gonna sign off for now, but I will definitely try to be coming back on again soon if I can stand to. Until then, have a great night and a great rest of your lives. If you can, try your best to, because that's important. And bye for now, everyone.